Hello, what we're going to talk about today is the common type of taps that you'll find in most houses or most plumbing installations. Firstly, we have the 1/2 inch basin tap here and the 3/4 bath tap here. Now if you look at the end of the tails there, you can see on this one here you have a 3/4 diameter opening there, and this one you have a 1/2 inch opening. This one's obviously bigger on the bath because it requires more water to fill the actual bath faster. So I'm going to talk about the 1/2 inch basin tap first. On each of the taps you can see here there's what you call a back nut, and this is designed to, when you drop the tap in the hole of the sink or the bath, that screws up underneath and causes the tap to be fixed underneath like that. So that screws that in and holds it like this. The next thing we need to do is get a water connection into the end of the tail here. Now the first thing I will show you is what you call a basic 1/2 inch tap connector. So what it does, that places in the bottom of the tail like that, and then the nut screws up against it and pulling the tap connector towards the bottom of the tail. And of course you need a seal in there, and what you need is one of these, which is called a 15mm grimmet or a fibre washer, and that drops into that little nipple piece sticking out there and drops over like that. Now a little tip here is to get some PTFE, roll it into a string and kind of wrap it over the grimmet itself about 5 or 6 times, and this causes it to be a bit thicker and gives it a better seal. And just snap that off like that, and then like I said, that'll create a better seal. It also holds the grimmet on as well, stop it falling off. So that's placed on there, so you can see that now between the tap connector and the tail. Tighten up the nut, finger tight, and of course that's going to want a bit more tightening up, so we can't use a traditional spanner on that. We need to use this thing called a basin wrench, or a washbowl key, or a tap spanner. There's all sorts of different names, but this is specifically designed for this job. So you place underneath the sink or the bath, you slide it up like that, and you can see it's at an angle. It grips the nut, and you can give it a nice solid turn like that, and it'll cause a nice watertight seal. That's absolutely essential for fitting taps. So that's a straight tap connector. Then we have the bent tap connector, which bends the connection to 90 degrees. So if the pipe's coming in at the back underneath for the tap, you need one of these here, and the connecting piece here works exactly the same way there for that. Then we have the other common type of connector now called a flexible connector, and that's got a nice thick soft rubber washer seal in there. These are actually better for sealing against the tap. So you screw that up and use your tool again to tighten that up. Now there's a slight disadvantage to using these, in that they don't offer the solidity or the support that a copper connector will give you, because okay, the tap is held by the back nut here, but when that's tightened up as well, it gives it extra support to stop the tap actually becoming loose or spinning in the hole. So that's the kind of a downside to them. There's another way of connecting this, which a lot of people don't realise, which is a simple 15mm olive and compression nut. Slide your compression nut over the pipe, slide your olive on about 1/2 inch from the end, 15mm from the end, and that goes inside there like that, and it works exactly the same as a compression fitting. Another tip here again, as I would advise you do in all compression fitting actually, is just to wrap a couple of 2 or 3 wraps around the olive, and again that softens the olive and gives it a nice seal. Not on the threads or anything, just around the olive like that. Place that in, tighten it up, and again you've got a very nice seal on there. Does away with using a tap connector. So they're the ways of connecting up these type of taps. Now move over to the 3/4 basin tap, bath tap. Again you've got the back nut, threaded tail there. So we need to run the copper into here, and that is what you call a 3/4 bath tap connector. And again we have a bigger 22mm grimmet. Put that over there. Again, just give that 2 or 3 wraps with the PTFE. Turn it into a string, like that, roll it into like a string, wrap it around a few times, snap that off, push it up underneath and tighten up the knot, and then we have the other end of this, which is the bigger end, which is specifically for bath taps. So you push that up under like that, give that a turn, and that again will tighten it up against the bottom of the tap. Now finally, sometimes now we have to have 1/2 inch pipes going into here because we're feeding the bathroom a pressurised combi boiler, pressurised system, so the water will get in much faster anyway. So we have this type of tap connector, which is a 3/4 to 15mm tap connector. This end works exactly the same as the other. Fibre washer on there, screw that up, but the other end of it, screw that on, but the other end is designed to take a 15mm pipe like that. So this is for when you've got a combi boiler and it's a pressurised system. These are more used for when you've got a tank, or using a header tank or head pressure for the bath. So that's it. There's the type of connections you need, or you'll come across, and this is the tool you will need for tightening up all those connections. Hope that's explained everything, and thanks very much for watching.